I was getting ready for this skills exercise video. I pre-cut all my parts, I dressed all my ends, I was working on the last piece, and I realized I forgot to tell you something. When you're polishing the ends of your pipes, you have more than one option to do this. I was using this tool, and I have a smaller version of that tool. It fits on the end of the pipe, and you would spin this just like you can spin the pipe or the tool, and it polishes the end of that pipe just like the big tool does. Another option I have is this emery cloth. This is sort of a cloth strip with sandpaper or grit on one end. Emery cloth is not my favorite choice for this process or this part of the process, but this pipe's pretty tarnished, and the grit or the heavier grit of our emery cloth might be just what you need to get the job done. The other option you have is this synthetic steel wool. It comes in different grits. This green grit works great for just polishing copper ends. And I like to use this one before I'd use that emery cloth. But as you can see, you end up with a polished surface that's ready to sweat. So let's go through this skills exercise. I've got my plans here, and I've got the parts called out in with a letter of the alphabet and then a dimension. So part A on your plans, we'll put that set of plans up so you can see it, is 25 3/4 inches. I pre-cut my parts here. This is part A, and we're going to assemble this. I'm not fluxing it at this point. We're not sweating it. We'll have that conversation when I get done. We're just going to pre-assemble it. This is a dry fit to make sure everything works together. So then I have an elbow here, a 90-degree elbow. And then I'll have part B, which is 19.5 inches. That would be this part here. And that piece goes right in like that. At this point, we have a valve to put on here. And I want my valve with the handle turned in. If it's off, if it's turned on, it would be straight. So that goes on this end here. If you notice, this valve is brass, and it just so happens during the sweating process, the solder will stick to the brass and the copper, so it is compatible with both those materials. Our next piece, part C, is 5 1/4 inches. It's one of my short pieces here. And there's my 5 1/4. That piece goes here. I then have a T that comes off here, facing in that direction. I'll have a small leg that comes off the end here. This is my 4-inch piece. Let me double check. 4-inch. And I also have an end cap that goes on the end of there. Working this direction, that would be part E, and it's 21.5 inches. I'm thinking that's this piece, 21.5. And that part goes here. Then we have our 45 turns here. I've got a 45 plus a 6-inch piece for part F. And that would be this piece. And I'll go ahead and put my 45 on the other end. There's two 45s. That goes there. And then I have my last section here that would be 16 inches. Let's double check. 16. And then I have a coupler that goes on the end of that, and then my last piece goes here. That's going to go in there with an elbow here. And because this is sticking off of the table, I'm going to assemble this all at the same time. So that is the entire thing in one circuit. We can double check our measurements here based on that measurement that's called out on the plans. This will fit into about a 27-inch square. So we can check for parallel on one side and the other, and we can check for parallel for this side. I've got 27 here and 27 here, and I also have 27 there and there. So we have made a square circuit with a corner cut out of it, with a valve in place and a T-joint with a short stub off of this end. At this point, we need to solder this all together, or it might be that you do this skills exercise and you only get to this point of the dry fitting. We also sometimes when we do this skills exercise, we'll do it in a frame like this. And this particular assembly fits in this frame. So you drill the holes in the frame and it can be assembled in here. That's good for holding the piece in place when you're sweating it. It's much more realistic as far as how you would sweat joints in framing. This offers you some support. That's your third hand that I was doing during the first part of this lesson. And that makes all of this happen and become a sealed system of copper pipe. So that's it for our skills exercise. As you can see, you need a fairly large table to assemble this circuit. I dropped a piece while I was moving it from there to here, but hopefully you get the idea. This is how copper goes. This gives you a lot of practice with different joints, different fittings, different process of prepping the pipe and actually reading plans, right? We had a set of plans and we created this from those instructions. So I hope all that makes sense. Good luck with this project, and I'll see you in the next lesson.